Adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming. It's a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives.
My name is Trevor. They have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
The adult beverages tonight is chamomile tea.
Ooh.
I'd love to chart the drinks on the show over the course of 7 years. Where at the beginning it was probably like a couple beers and we're just a couple guys having a great time, and slowly it's like, ooh, I got a really fine herbal tea this evening.
Yeah.
It should help me because I am exhausted. I have not been able to sleep. I blasted through my alarm this morning. Just completely zonked. We woke up. It was well past time for the kids to be in school, and my wife we're just looking at each other like, "Oh, okay." We just had to go. My kids were razzing me tonight, like, "Oh, you don't forget to wake us up tomorrow, so we go to school." I'm like, yeah, you wake me up, okay?
They're already giving it to you. They're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, Dad. Yeah, okay, wake us up, sure."
So that's how tired I was. So this chamomile is a desperate attempt to try to get to sleep tonight. Just
okay.
Hashtag dad life. What can I tell you? Welcome to 40.
Yeah, that's true.
Good show for the week. We had an entire show. Let me break down how this episode came about as far as like the topic list. We had a show. Here's 6 topics. Okay, let's talk about this sort of thing. I started by saying I have not played a game for 2 weeks.
Right.
Nothing. And not because this is not some noble quest of non-digital life, like being in the real world. No. I just no time. Life's crazy. And I've even downloaded all these things on my phone, such as Hearthstone and like Grid Sport and like all these other things, and Call of Duty Mobile. To which Jeff replies, apropos of nothing, like, I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to be so into Call of Duty." And it's like, folks, I have chatted with this man for 7 years on this podcast, and never would have expected you to be a Call of Duty player.
This is like a concealed life of mine.
Yeah.
That I just
Are you secretly Twitch pro somewhere?
Yeah.
Like you're an affiliate on Twitch and competing in Call of Duty. I'm a bit like shocked. It's not. I was trying to figure out how to phrase this, and I want to get into your story about your Call of Duty story as far as why did you play it. Mm-hmm. And I just don't want to frame it negatively, but there's a certain type of gamer that plays Call of Duty.
Yeah. And
it's almost like where the console, you ask them, "Oh, do you play games?" Like, "Yeah, I play game." It's like, "Oh, you have like an Xbox?" It's like, "Yeah, that's what I play Call of Duty on."
Right.
And this isn't, again, that's not a knock. Like, that's awesome. Like, if you love your game, you buy it, you play it. But there is a certain type of gamer where they will purchase a system only to play Call of Duty. So that's where it is just a rabid fan base, and it's not particularly noob friendly.
No.
Right. So it's an entire war. So again, like, it was just, there was like a sandstorm, Jeff, that had just blown over me.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry for people listening. Jeff and I were singing Darude's "Sandstorm" for 2 minutes before the podcast started.
That works.
So, but I was just blown away by it. Like, you used to be a Call of Duty player.
I think that's the key there, as I used to be.
And then I had kids.
Yeah, well, basically that did change a lot of it, but I was big into, like, going way back, I was big into Counter-Strike. Coming off that, I went into Battlefield, and then I got into Call of Duty, specifically Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And I think this is like PlayStation 3, like way back, and I was good. I was good at this game. I was leading the charts, like, not even a problem, Trevor. I'm just saying, I was like somewhat of a star back in my day.
What I would give to see a clip, like, if you,
I should find one.
Wait, you might have one?
I might have one, but it would be like recorded off screen because I think the PlayStation 3 did not have like any share function.
By any means necessary, you need to get this up on our Twitter account. Like, I would love to see you.
Yeah.
Just taking names in Call of Duty.
I'm gonna go dig through my old like BlackBerry videos to see what 320 pixel video I have of me just clearing a zone, no issues.
Check this hot gaming clip off of my BlackBerry Pearl from 2005.
Yeah.
That is stunning. Okay, so you were right in the mix. So what happened after Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4?
Well,
Call of Duty 4 Modern
yes.
Warfare.
Yeah, I think that again, that was around the time I had first baby dropped, and as cliche as it sounds, like it does change you. So going around and like I don't know, murdering people, wasn't what I wanted at that time. I just wanted something chill. I think I turned to a lot of other games that were just less military, right? I didn't want to be in that space.
Like, was it the violence? Was it the intensity as far as like, because when you play, I'll say you and I started up this clip as we record this, we're watching a clip of someone playing and there was a countdown and there's a certain anxiety that sets in like, oh, here we go. Time to perform. Was it that intensity? Was it the violence or was it a mix?
I think it was a good mix, but you are right on there where there was anxiety to it. Like you have to be on your toes. You have to be on. It's like almost like a job. You're going into these maps, and if you don't know where you're going or spotting, a sniper a mile away or whatever, you will get easily just pwned in the map where it's not fun anymore, right? So you're always kind of performing, and you can go into other lobbies. But I was so high up in my class that I couldn't get. I would have to start new characters to be with people that were a little bit more chill. Because once you do climb up the ladder, like it gets intense. And I remember having voice chat, and I don't think I've turned that on since probably this game, for a good reason, because there's a lot of stuff that's been said in those voice chats that just is. Yeah. Are you even playing with the same kind of people that you want to be playing? Like, do you want to be associated with these kind of people? And I'm not knocking the game. Again, I'm not. People play it. They love it. I get it. But where I was at, it was just too intense for me at that time in my life. And I just kind of dropped off it. And then now I think it's so far in the distance from the games I would ever play that, again, you and me, we talk all the time. And you were surprised that I was into this game. Like, because I don't play these games at all anymore. Like it's just not me.
Yeah, that leveling thing is in business. There's a concept called the Peter Principle, where you basically continue to get promoted until you're useless.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like you will. It's like congratulations. Now you're director or directing manager, but you cannot be a directing manager. That's a bad job for you. Like that's above your skill level. But so now you're doing the bad poorly.
Right.
You will keep getting promoted until eventually you're at a place where you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that with these multiplayer games where I think a lot, even with Fortnite and other ones, where I would be playing it and it's not because I was winning the map. I wasn't first place. It's not like I was clearly dominating, but it's like you got a couple kills. Therefore, your level's going from 2 to 3. And every time it's like, no, do not. This level is fine. Like this level's kind of fun. Don't put me up anymore.
Right.
And yeah, same thing with Hearthstone and any other games that has some degree of competitive ladder. It just always felt like you're going to be raised up until finally it's not fun anymore, unless like you're into this high intensity winning. Yeah,
and I think that's a good point where a lot of players want that progression. They always want to see like they're earning levels, they're earning gear, they're earning whatever awards, whatever. But on the flip side of that, like, you're not actually training to be better at all. Like you could have had some lucky kills or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're in a league that is totally outclassed, and it's no fun anymore. Yeah. And it's not like you drop levels, right? You just kind of sit there.
Yeah.
And wonder what to do to your life.
Like you sit in the unfun zone for quite some time.
You do. I think you do.
Now, have your kids come into this wheelhouse at all? Have they tried to approach anything with like gun violence, and have you had to have that conversation yet?
Nothing like this at all. No, not even close to it. So, 13-year-old maybe is on the cusp. Like, again, they're still pretty young. Back in my day, I was probably playing Quake 2 at his age. So maybe it's to come. I know some of his friends do play Call of Duty. Again, I don't know what version we're on at this point, but they're pretty intense. And a lot of it with, there's another one I can't think of, Tom Clancy's.
Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Siege, yes, that's the one.
Yeah, they're really intense into that. So that hasn't really gotten to my 13-year-old yet. 10-year-old that hasn't even touched either, but it might be something that, I don't know. I don't know how I will feel when that day comes. I'm not sure about yourself. Like, because it can be pretty visceral. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, the violence in the games causes violence in life, but I think you do have to have some sort of, not thick skin, but like, I don't know, some desensitization to it.
You need to be able to contextualize it. Like, it's a very visceral active state, and even more in some ways than the violence. So it's just gratuitous. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to take them to an R-rated movie. This can be called an R-rated game in a sense, right? Like, just given the depiction of violence, and it's almost like where you could imagine them playing Fortnite. Not that like Fortnite's any great fantastic game, but for kids that is. But there's almost like a cartoon and a silliness about the violence that belays some of the other parts of it otherwise. And in Call of Duty, there's none of that. It's just like no filter, super violence, right?
Yeah.
Blood, guts, knives, stabbing, all those things, paired with addictive nature around wanting to rank up, wanting to play like one more round, like the terrible toxic like online chats, like that have to be one of them. But then how do you square that? Because as you said, like we were playing Doom and Quake and Duke Nukem 3D as of 12, 14 at that same age. So that, like, how have you thought about how to like bridge that divide? Is it just because back in my day it was different, or is there a modern context you can use?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to meet that day. I think I'm just waiting for it to happen to see how I react. Because like it even goes with like outside of this with like Grand Theft Auto, right? Like I grew up on those games. They can be very visceral. And I'm sure the next one's even going to be more realistic and whatever. And that's going to be geared towards my teenager. So where do I go with it? I don't know. I don't want to be like the uncool dad either. Like, oh yeah, don't play those games, because obviously they're going to go play them. But it's really about, I guess, checking in. And I think we were left to our own devices kind of growing up. So our parents really didn't know what we were doing. Unless you were, having a bad go at Call of Duty and bang around.
Swearing something. Yeah, and unfortunately we know better now. Like,
yeah.
It is one of the better. I think it's gotten more violent. It's gotten more realistic. It's gotten addictive because these companies are trying to, get people in the battle passes and microtransactions. So I feel somewhat. Yeah. It's almost like if a kid came to say, "Hey, listen, I want to play Halo. I want to play some Halo multiplayer or GoldenEye," and in fact, I think there's a new game coming out that is a GoldenEye homage, basically. I'm not sure if you saw the trailer for it.
No,
but that's coming all to the modern systems. If they came at those ones, it's almost like, okay, look, there's violence to this, but we can have a conversation about it. As opposed to specifically Call of Duty, it is almost a different. I think any gaming dad listen can clearly see the chasm that exists between Call of Duty and Quake 2.
Yeah, I think so. And I've actually spoken about like playing GoldenEye with my kids, right? And
they were
they were just laughing at how bad it was. So like, again, it was just something that was not, it was in no way realistic at all. And the polygonal maps were like a joke to them. So there wasn't much of a conversation there, but looking at the footage now of, what I was into, and know that it's, probably 2-3 generations above this now. It can get pretty realistic, and I know that they go for that too, with like war crimes and all sorts of guns and stuff. So I don't know, it'll be a conversation. I'm not looking forward to it. Maybe your kids will get there before mine, and then you can tell me.
I guarantee he's already asked. My oldest says like, but I love violence. I'm a boy that loves violence. It's like Did you say that to your teacher?
Yeah.
It's just like, does that sentence leave the house because it's something we're gonna need to deal with?
Yeah.
And so yeah, mine for sure will be looking for it. But I'll keep you posted how it goes. Man, truth revealed, Jeff, the Call of Duty player. I'll say last point before we move on. One of the games, I haven't played a game in 2 weeks. One of the games I downloaded on my phone to try to find some more time was Call of Duty.
Okay.
And I was winning every match, which means it's a lie. There's no way in any just and fair system that I win every match consistently. It's just clearly bots. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah, it could be bots, yeah.
it's either bots to make sure, like, wow, you're so good at this game, maybe you should buy a skin. Or it's, it's like 5-year-olds with like a dial-up modem. Like, it's that exact like peak where eventually I'm going to clear. It's the Peter Principle gaming. I'm going to rise up to a place where I'll get murdered every time. I would be curious if you have a phone that can handle it, if you could play Call of Duty mobile and see your reaction to it. Like, I'd like to see almost as a challenge for this week.
Okay.
And you can report back
Dad
next.
challenge. All right.
Dad challenge. Because I'm just curious, like, if it, given your history, given your Call of Duty chops from back in the day, what is it like to play it on the phone?
You're really buttering me up to do this, aren't you? Like, look.
And I'd say try two things too. Like, if you can pair a PlayStation controller to your phone, see if you can do it with a controller and without.
Okay.
The on-screen controls are a bit janky, but it really does feel good with a controller.
Okay. No, I will take that challenge.
Good.
And I'll report back on, where I'm at, if it is in fact bots or if I'm at the top of the leaderboard. I don't know.
I bet you'll go through the first levels. You'll see. All right. Report it back. Hey, gaming dads out there, are you Call of Duty dads and want to give us some insight in how that plays inside of your household? Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming on Twitter or newdadgaming.com. Now, another challenge for you, Jeff, is I dare you to try to keep Roblox off your PlayStation. Good luck, bud. There's no chance. Everybody listening, this is a almost news alert, a warning to gaming dads out there. Roblox has finally come to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Pour one out for your PlayStation homies. They're coming for your kids.
That's right. My old PlayStation 4 sits in the basement here, and I think I've again spoken about how it's become a YouTube player, but I do not want it to become a Roblox player. I don't want it on the system. I haven't even really looked at it. Usually I would go into these games like, okay, how the system's built, can they purchase stuff in game, blah blah blah. I haven't even looked at it. My kids have already seen it plastered across the store page, right? Like, it's right front of, because it's popular. I get it, but I don't want it on the PlayStation. They do have it on their laptops. I'd rather just keep it to one console, like one system, one platform.
Yeah, just losing another one. I'll say it really, I was quite surprised to find it wasn't on PlayStation. And we discovered this some time ago. And also this one makes it makes sense it's not on Switch. Nintendo does. Yeah. Nintendo's got some honestly, if you look at their store, they got some real garbage in there. So it's not like they're not the highest barometers of quality. However, generally speaking, Nintendo, family friendly, and Roblox, it's not that it's not family friendly, but there's baggage. It's a game with baggage.
There's baggage. I like that.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if anything, it's just Nintendo's kind of putting their hands up, saying, you know what, just we don't want to get into this. Like,
yeah, I don't think so, because it could definitely run it. Like, if it runs in the browser of like
on a Chromebook,
laptops, exactly. So like, and they try to get it at school because I get like the warnings that they're logging in. It's at school, so like they're trying to get it on whatever Chromebook they can. So Nintendo could definitely run it. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't want it on a console. I would like to keep. I know your kids are like, I don't know if they're still into it. Did they play it on Xbox? Did they? Yeah,
that Xbox. Well, they tag team. So one is on Xbox and the other one is on their Chromebook.
Oh, okay.
And they've been meeting up recently and actually meeting up with cousins, which is kind of cool. I dislike it. I dislike that so much of it seems to be built for screaming YouTuber reactions, and there's so much IP theft and just nonsense like jump scare stuff. Yeah. But on the whole, it's kind of just somewhat harmless. Every now and then they ask for Robux, and I tell them heck no, like there's no way you're ever getting that. And it's all over. It came for PlayStation. I don't think we'll make a similar announcement anytime soon for Nintendo, but gaming dads, be aware. It has landed on Big Blue, and life's over.
We were so positive there. And life's over. That's it.
It's done.
Pack
It's done. What, the last bastion of pure gaming. Oh, talking pure gaming. You had shared on Twitter this week at New Dan Gaming a fantastic gaming tip. I never really considered it for any of these. Okay. And as somebody who has whiled away all of his precious gaming time on nonsense side quests, your tip that came from Cyberpunk 2077 was fascinating. Why don't you walk us through what something you discovered?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit before about starting it, right? And again, huge world, completely overwhelming.
Massive game.
So I said to myself, I'm going to get burned out on this game pretty quick because I'm not going to play this game like Trevor. I'm not going to go to every side quest.
It's true, but you don't have to say it.
I know. So I just beeline for the main missions. I main missioned it. I looked up, okay, what's the title of the last mission? So I know, and I think it warns you like, hey, there's a point of no return. So I got to that last mission. I'm not saying that like beelining it is the greatest way to do it, because some enemies can be a little bit tougher because you're not doing all the side quests to buff you so that you just crush everybody in your way. It does take a little like, finagling, and like I'm from Elden Ring and Dark Souls, so like it wasn't much of a challenge for me to like get around things.
That's a soft brag there. That's
fine. I'm just too good for it.
Listen, I'm a player who beat Elden Ring without cheats. You know what I mean? I'm pretty good.
I'm not gonna play it like Trevor. I'm just kidding.
I got to the top of Call of Duty. Like, what do you want from me? Like, just I'm good at gaming.
I will say I did rely on a lot of glitches.
Hey, they're all right.
So that helped me along. But now that I know that the final mission is literally my next phone call away in the game, and I'm done, and I know the length of that mission is about, 30, 40 minutes, I can just go around the world and do whatever I want, take in the sights, do a little side gig here and there, fiddle around with like, hey, this car is kind of neat, I'm going to go follow it, whatever. And I'm having a blast. It's so freeing knowing that like cool. I can complete the game anytime I want. Right? And I think the reverse, I would be like trying to do everything, taking the world all at once, get burned out, drop it, and then maybe never come back. Or come back like and hate play it. Like I want to finish it because it's staring at me and I want it off the hard drive. Right? I think now I got to a place where I'm good with it. So recommendation, maybe beeline through and see where you get to.
That seems so smart. It really makes me, the next time I finally get into some gaming and I get back into Starfield, there's a few things I'd like to finish up, but as soon as those are done, take on no new quests. Yeah. Just do the main story right up to the point. Although I think I'd have to check I think there's a Game Plus. I'd have to see how that works
in Starfield, yes.
But I'd have to understand how it works. Is it you just start a brand new, like you start from the beginning, or it's like, okay, just keep playing?
I don't know.
Because even better,
goes
I think
forever.
Yeah, if I can get confirmation for the game that's like, okay, you can just finish the game, and once done, putz around the world for the rest of as long as you like. But I think that's fantastic for gaming dads. That's something I'm going to look to do for Starfield. Beeline to the end, get to the last level. And then go around the universe, have a great time. Yeah,
you do have to turn a blind eye to the missions that don't offer it. Like you kind of just lock them out because you did beeline and like maybe you kill the person that you would have done a side mission for. But I think these games are pretty lenient now that they don't want to really lock you out of any kind of storyline. So definitely try it out. I think it's way better than just not finishing it ever. Or having a new Game Plus and be like, oh my God, I thought I was done. And now a new 80 hours starts. I don't know.
There's so much. Very good. Dad tip for actually finishing games. Yeah. I love it. Speaking of that, like to finish game, you'd have to start one. And it is, I don't know what to tell you. It has just been misery. Like there's been, okay, that's overstating it. I have not played a game for 2 weeks.
Look at my god.
Not a single game. Like we did have Canadian Thanksgiving, so for that weekend I was traveling, so zipping about. Before that, it was just work and like actually like a bunch of things just kind of all stacked up. So it wasn't any attempt to do it. It just like, sort of happened, and then you get to the end of 2 weeks and you think like, "What's up, man? Like I can't play anything." I almost it sort of feels like I just need to find a rhythm and a something I can dip into quickly. And I've had two thoughts. Like one would be I've not been spending much time with my Quest headset, and I absolutely adore that golf game. And the way you can do it, especially with like weekly challenges, is like you go in, do a couple chips, a couple of putting, like do a couple of driving ranges, and you're out. So it's very sessionable. So perhaps like let's charge that thing. I was thinking just today, it's like, you know what, I should just charge that up, strap it on, do a couple rounds of golf, just try to enjoy myself, get out. I was thinking of getting something that I know, again, sessionable. Let's focus on finding like 10 minutes a day.
Right.
I was thinking hockey. So let's do NHL, like one of my old time favorites of playing some hockey games. Like get that up, try like do a 10-minute one. Or keep going with Diablo Immortal. I'd started like a character. I was trying to kind of like weave my way through using the backbone that I have on my phone. Just like it's almost like strategies, because I arrive at this point and it's not, oh, I have put away my childish things and now I'm an adult and I'm not going to play games anymore. It's more, it's not a great look on my life when I am not making times for the hobbies that I really enjoy. So like, how can I kind of bring it in and schedule it? Have you had like a gaming dry spell recently that you can think of, or at any time, or have you been able to get your moments as needed?
It's my wind down time that I make the time to do some gaming sessions. But I will say sometimes it is difficult when you have so much choice. I think that kind of comes into it too, where I almost want, like, again, specifically PlayStation, like they don't have folders anymore, and I used to put the games away in a folder so I'd only see the one that I want to play, right? Because otherwise it just presents you with more of this, like, you know, huge buffet of games that you could play, and you do only have, let's say, 20 minutes to unwind with something. And I found that just sticking to one and kind of allowing it to have like a sleep mode, and you could sort of like pause at any time, that works. But I'm actually going into, should I disconnect for a bit because I am going away on a trip? I'm like, do I not play games for that and live the Trevor life for
the forced Trevor life? Live the Trevor life by choice, as opposed to the mandated one. Okay, interesting. Now, what would you try to get out of it? Is it you'd like to chomp through some books you've been looking at for a while? Would it be what is life like without gaming? Because there's been so much of it for a while.
What is life? Yeah, books are definitely in there. I have a lot of backlog in books that I buy, all these like sci-fi books, and I never read them. I maybe turn a couple chapters and then like it's on the shelf, kind of like the games that, you know, just kind of sit there. So I think I just even, you know, diverting over to that and just, you know, having some time with that without the pressure of games, because I literally, if I don't bring it, it's not there to tempt me. And it sounds like an addiction when I say that, but like if it's not there, like I will prefer that, right? If it's there, I'll prefer it and I'll go to it. And then, you know, maybe I just don't do that this time and go away to a new place and read some books, and that's it.
Flash forward like 10 minutes in. I've made a terrible mistake.
I should have. I'm going to go to Walmart and see if I can purchase.
You just purchased one of those ghetto, like, fake arcade cabinets.
Yeah.
It's like one game. Like, just anything, man. I got to do this.
You just go down the hotel lobby. You're like, sir, do you have any Pac-Man? I need something.
Yeah. Actually, what I've found, like, what I've come to realize is when I travel, so when something like Thanksgiving, Christmas, like Easter, whatever, like your choose your poison, we travel to my parents. That is a 7-hour drive.
Whoa, okay. Yeah,
and then it's like time with the folks and the parents and everything else, and it's always phenomenal. Always have a blast. And I have, well, just for work, like sometimes I'll bring my laptop, gaming, like it's a gaming laptop. It could play games. I've brought my little retro console, and of course I have my phone. Although internet connectivity is a bit spotty, so it kind of depends what game is on there. iPad, like there'd be some sort of card stuff on there. So it's all there. But in those particular cases, there's just enough of the family stuff, and then it comes down to that there's like now 20-30 minutes before sleep, and that instead in that context is books or quality time with my wife or anything else.
Yeah.
So I suppose in some weird way, almost I have been living that Trevor lifestyle, where in that context, gaming is not factored into it, just given the place of it, like where that's at. Yeah, and that's nice. But sorry, you go on.
No, like again, earlier in the show, I took on a challenge to have Call of Duty Mobile, so it will be with me.
There you go.
Right, the games just attach themselves to me, so I will have access to something. But yeah.
So, I had no other games, so now I'm like top ranked on Call of Duty Mobile. Like I got invited to a tournament. Tune in next week.
Hold on, I'm on Twitch. Hold on, Trevor. We're gonna have to delay this episode.
We're in the middle of a $10,000 tournament. Let's go. Jeff needs a new mic.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody, that'll wrap it up there for the week. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can find the podcast on all the major podcasting networks. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcasts. Just search for New Dad Gaming. If you do find us and you like the show, a subscription really helps. More than that, a rating as well. A rating and a comment really helps boost the signal to all those other gaming dads. We've got to get a Halo 2 group going, just some old school multiplayer stuff, like all our kids, all of the dads, see what we can do for a tournament. But legitimately, boosting that out really does help. Now, talking about that community, if you can find us on all the socials, you can find us at New Dad Gaming. So we're on Twitter, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Twitch at New Dad Gaming Podcast, and of course the website newdadgaming.com. We really adore hearing stories. Do you have any comments on the above? Are you a Call of Duty dad? Are you worried about Roblox? On PlayStation, do you have your own tip for Cyberpunk, or do you like to go on sabbaticals without games? All of the above. Love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming, newdadgaming.com. Once again, thank you for listening, and until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff, living the Trevor lifestyle, but I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
And just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.